their butts kicked.
Because every once in a while, a running back comes along who makes his own holes. And we've seen them. I see Dalvin Cook this year. He's making a lot of his own holes.
How did Dalvin do
jump cuts?
How did Dalvin do against the Broncos? 20 yards rushing.
Okay. You know who I'm seeing open holes for himself is Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson right now is the best running back in football, and he's also playing as good a quarterback as anybody.
Well, Skip, it's hard to defend the quarterback considering that he might throw the ball. Some of those runs that he have are not designed.
I saw a stat last night. Lamar is running away with the league lead in yards gained with defenders within 1 yard of him. So you can't get him down. Right. You can take your shot, but if you're within 1 yard of him, he's probably still going to go for more.
Ask the Texans last week about that run he had. He didn't score.
All right. I used to see that from this guy, and I don't see the body language, the demeanor. And I'm going to drive this home with the greatest irony of all. When do I need Zeke the most? Have you been noticing what's been happening to the New England defense of late?
Yeah.
They are getting gashed by the run. What is happening? They've now dropped to 10th in yards per rush against them, okay, or yards per game. And yet Pro Football Focus now ranks them 29th against the rush in overall effectiveness. And obviously over the last 3 games, if you just do the last 3, they're second from last in rush yards allowed. So something is going wrong because it started, and you brought it up that next day, it started with Nick Chubb. He goes 20 runs for 131 yards. Now, Cleveland lost the game 27-13, but here came Lamar and company. At Baltimore Sunday night, I believe it was, 210 yards rushing. Mark Ingram went 15 times for 115, and Lamar added a nice little 16 carries for 61 more yards. 210 yards rushing. You know what I saw that night, my eye test? I saw New England's front get bullied. I saw it get overpowered. I saw Baltimore just line up and say, you know what? We're bigger, stronger, tougher than you are because you're a little undersized in your front 7. They're mobile. They play with finesse, and they're obviously expertly coached. But they can be just overwhelmed by brute force. Right? The Cowboys got potential brute force in their front. They don't play like that.
Well, we're about to find out.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is, isn't this game made for Zeke to come out and say, okay, watch this.
Yes.
I will run over these people because they can't stop me. They're not big enough and strong enough to keep stopping me. I'll hammer you into oblivion.
Well, Skip, the thing is that Zeke, and you're right, the last 3 weeks, the Patriots' run defense hasn't been what we were accustomed to seeing. And a lot of times because a lot of times, Skip, they had such a big lead, a team run a draw on them or something like that, you put up those empty calorie yards. But in this, and we even chalked that up with Chubb. Because they were like, look how far they were behind. So it really didn't mean anything. It really didn't come to the forefront until we saw a nip-tuck game where they were behind and the Ravens were still running the football at will, getting 4, 10, and Lamar was just running on that 4th down run, got that touchdown. But Skip, Zeke also has to be careful because you see what's happening. Now they're saying Dak is now up to 3rd in the MVP voting. He has to be careful because anything that he says might be off. So now all of a sudden, Dak is starting to get shine. I'm up. Hey, I'm gonna go out and get me 100 yards. No, bro.
I see that.
When the opportunity presents itself, Skip, I assure you, Zeke Elliott is more than capable of carrying the load. The opportunity presents itself, but he has to walk a very fine line. And Skip, most players, especially if you're not the quarterback. Receivers and running backs, they get labeled, and DBs also, especially corners, get labeled as divas. Zeke doesn't want to get labeled that. I sincerely believe that Zeke and Dak are really good friends. Not only are they teammates, they're good friends off the field.
I believe they're best friends.
Yes.
And remember, Dak has been there every step of the way through all of Zeke's off-field controversies.
They came in together. It was voted they had the best class of this decade. Because they had Zeke, Dak, Jalen Smith, and Malik Collins. That's a hell of a first 4 picks.
Anthony Brown, throw him in, but go ahead.
Yeah. So they're very, very close. And he doesn't want to do anything that would come off that all of a sudden he's upset that Dak's getting shine and he's not getting the shine that he once did.
I don't believe there's ever any conflict between these two in that regard.
I know they're not. But I'm saying the perception, what it would be. I want my boy to do good. I want him to get that bag. I got me a bag. I got me a little bag. But Dak about to get the big old duffel bag. So, he going to have to be really, really good. So, and
what did Zeke do when he caught the screen pass and scored at Detroit? What did he do?
He did the Dak dance.
He honored his quarterback.
Love it.
He did the Dak.
You were fine with it if it was a teammate? I was just curious.
I'm fine. I liked it because, but it's the new Zeke.
Yeah.
And he finished off his remarks by yesterday saying, "I just want to be a good teammate."
Okay.
Yes.
Like, I'm happy to be a cog in the attack.
Right.
And he's happy to honor the quarterback because he's just acknowledging publicly he's the show now.
Right.
I'm just going along for his ride. You know. Like
and Skip, sometimes that goes unnoticed, being a good teammate. When you've had the success that Zeke has had, obviously you want to continue that. It's tough. All of a sudden, somebody else starting to get a little shine, and Dak, Skip, the guy's in the MVP discussion.
The competitiveness.
I mean, and you see what he's doing.
I don't want him to be content being a good
No, I don't believe he's content. I don't believe he's content because Zeke understands that he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
Well, he was.
Yeah. Skip.
He's 8th in the league in rushing. Is that Hall of Fame trajectory?
Let me ask you a question.
Seriously.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe he'll finish the season 8th or worst in the league in rushing?
I don't know. That's a great question. I wish I had an answer. You think he'll improve? If he does, my team's got a real shot.
Whoa.
If he does not, I'm real shaky on my team's how far they're going to make it.
Well, help me understand. Now, you just sat in that very seat right there. I was sitting right here. Jenny was sitting right there. You told me now the Cowboys have morphed into a passing team. This is Dak Prescott team. Now, how you want him to get the same amount of carries and the same amount of yards when they throw the ball more?
What is Belichick known for? Whatever it requires, this game versus this defense, I will do that.
Right.
Sometimes I let Tom throw it. Sometimes we just decide we can run it down their throat. How many times have you seen a game, some big Sunday night game, when they'll just say, what? They're handing it off.
It's from game to game. It's from half to half. Nobody makes the halftime adjustments like the Patriots.
Okay.
But the thing is, Coach Belichick normally tries to take away. He's going to take away A. If he can, he'll take away A and B and make you beat him with C. So what is A for the Cowboys? You believe it's throwing the football. So I believe...
it's not even, do I believe it? It's what's been happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the case...
It's statistically screaming at
you. If that's the case, if you believe that, and by the eye test, and you said, if there are a passing team, and Coach Belichick says, I take away A, which is the pass, Zeke should have a monster day.
You would think so.
It's hard for me to believe
It's also possible he could have a monster day no matter what they do.
Okay.
Because I do believe that Belichick went to Baltimore thinking, we can't let them run wild on us, right? And they just did. Because you know what? They're that good.
Yeah.
And you're a little smallish in your front. So there's a supreme advantage, especially Baltimore's got a big, nasty offensive line.
Yeah.
They play nastier than the Cowboy line does. The Cowboy line plays like they're a little overpaid to me. That's just me.
And Skip, the thing is, the difference between Lamar and Dak is not the threat. Even though he can run, he's not the threat that Lamar Jackson is with his legs.
No.
Because Lamar Jackson is, if he jumps out the window, you rush him. And that's what Coach Belichick had to be cautious of. Coach Belichick's like to go zero coverage, nobody back there. Skip, that guy break the line of scrimmage and zero coverage, it's over.
Dak can hurt you.
Yes.
Lamar can beat you.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting, the cat and mouse game. I'm anxious to see. Coach Belichick calls this game against a first-year offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. That's really the cat and mouse, Skip, right there. How is he going to call this, and what is Coach Belichick going to do?
You think Kellen's a little intimidated? A little nervous?
Come on now, that's your guy.
It's kind of a big
You
moment
love
for him.
Kellen Moore.
I think that buck stops on Jason Garrett's desk.
No. I ain't gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you do that. He's about to show you. Now, you believe in Dak. Now, Skip, if Dak were to go to New England and do what Moses did and lead them people out of there, Skip, I ain't had no choice. I got to come in here. I'm coming in here. Skip, you got me.
What are you going to do?
You got me, Skip.
Maybe a jersey?
I might get on